it can take you anywhere, this industry. It can pull you apart too. So you really need to know and be grounded when it comes to wanting to know, why am I doing it? Besides the passion, besides the talent that you may have, what is it? I don't want to do a film because I want to be out there. I want to do a film so people know that I come from Malaysia and I'm a Malaysian actor.
Yeah. Whole conversation was supposed to be
About my
learning
work.
so much about you, but we've learned so much more about people around you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really like talking about myself, that's why. What am I as an actor? Why am I saying this and why am I feeling this at this point?
It's like world building.
It is. You
Right,
are
yeah.
building this world,
Yeah.
right?
Welcome back to another episode of Life Confessions, where we are very excited, of course, to have yet another amazing guest join us. I get excited having guests like the one that's sitting next to me today, the amazing Datin Sofia Jane, actress.
Hi, Terry.
I love having you on Light FM when you joined Leah and myself, and we learned about you through the music that you chose.
Yep.
And it seems like whenever you do interviews, we never get to really talk about so much that you do because you've done so much, right? Do you
Yeah,
find
quietly I do
Yeah.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah. And while people keep wanting to go back to particular movies that you've done and amazing, memorable scenes as well, what do you find is something that you're most proud of all the things that you've done so far?
I think I've been proud of everything that I've done. Even the regrets that I have, I'm
Yeah.
proud of, because everything I do is, any choices that I've made in the beginning of my career till today has always been quiet and conscious. So, and I think, and I embark on the journeys that I have with all the roles that I've done, all the productions that I've been involved with. And, and I'm proud of all of that because I always walk away from the set, from the work that I've done.
Yeah.
And I learn something new all the time.
Right.
So I think that's also helped me to grow as a person,
Yeah.
to grow as a person in the industry as well, and steady myself and be able to work with clarity in a very, this industry can be very turbulent at times. So I think that's yeah. So I'm very proud of everything that I've done.
Yeah, you should be, because your body of work is incredibly extensive, and not every actress, no matter Malaysian or not, has had a career as long as yours. Someone who's had continuous work and great things to work on as well. Like you said, you're proud of everything that you've done. And you've been a part of this industry long enough to have seen how it's progressed
Yes.
as well. And some of the feedback that we hear in the industry is that it's changed the way things feel behind the camera. Do you feel like it used to be more personal and now it's gotten colder with the way films are made? Is there a difference that you feel from the way it began and now as things stand today?
I mean, everything has evolved. I mean, politically we have evolved.
Yeah.
Economically we have evolved, and how we see things in general. The different dimensions of our landscape has also changed a lot from the 80s up till today.
Yeah.
Like before we didn't have platforms, we didn't have digital,
Yeah.
and now we do, where everything's immediate. And I think probably, and I'm not going to say that's the cause, but I think right now at this point of my career, I can see that there are a lot of struggles. Struggles meaning producers, writers, or directors wanting to tell, more intimate stories that relate to the Malaysia that they are in now today, and how, at the end of the day, when you make a film, it has to make some kind of margin.
Is there more of a pressure now for films to do financially well? Because, okay, I think maybe I need to explain a little bit here that grants have been a big part of Malaysian film for a very long time.
Yes.
Right? And they're still important now.
Yes, they still exist.
They still exist. How much is that balance now between making a movie that is because you have the money granted by a grant, and then making it financially viable
Right.
as well, right?
Yeah, so that's something that you have to look at 100 steps or 100,000 steps beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Before you wanting to even embark on thinking of writing. For instance, even if I wanted to write a script, let's say, I would have to think about the logistics, location, and how we can make it viable with the money that you think you can raise to start a film, you know, and to make sure that people are at least paid sufficiently well.
Yeah.
You know, so and then you have the grants, and then with the grants also, which is a great thing, you know. I mean, for the government to be able to endorse that
Yeah.
in that sense, you know, financially. But we also have to take a look at the bigger picture of how, like FINAS, which is our, you know, film institution, National Film Institution. What do you want out of these grants and the films that are being made?
Right. What content?
Where do you want to see it?
Mm.
And how do you want it to grow? Because it's not just about giving out money
Right.
and have somebody make a film.
Right.
Because there's been people who've received grants and never made the film. You know?
It makes the news sometimes, in fact.
And then you go, okay, so what are the criteria? I mean, these are all questions that we need to ask. Even, you know, you don't have to be in the industry to ask these obvious questions. So, but my question would be, with that money, you want to see something substantial grow out of it, you know?
What do you want to see? Like, as an actress, because you are in a position to be able to choose what you make as well. You're a person who has been, I think even from the beginning, you've been very conscious of roles that you've taken.
Right.
And now, being as well known as you are in an even better position to be able to choose the projects that you work on. How do you make that choice?
I look at the narratives. I look at who's actually writing the story and how it is written. And I think being more personally involved with production, not meaning being a collaborator of sorts, but being able to collab in a sense where my input as an actor counts.
Right. So that means even as an actor, you can still contribute to how the character is developed and even the story.
In the story, yeah, because you know, I'm not just an actor; I'm also an audience.
Right.
Right. I watch films too, and I look and see how a film develops, how a story develops, how a character develops, and what is it that the story wants to say. You know, and I think at this point in my career, and even before when I started, you know, when I started working earlier in the days, was actually to be able to be a part of a film that can be identified as a Malaysian film.
Right. Right.
Regardless of who's in it, regardless of the language that we use.
Right.
You know,
something that reflects us.
Right. As a, you know, because we are so diverse in our culture and our people, and it doesn't make sense that we can identify other people's films by just looking at a particular landscape or just seeing the person or hearing the language, and us not being identified soon enough or quick enough to go, that's a Malaysian film.
Because we are unique enough to be able to be that.
And a lot of people don't really know about Malaysia in that sense, through films.
Through films, yes.
Right? People know about history, people know about location, but people don't really know us and the diversity that we have and carry.
Yeah.
And film has always been, you know, the greatest tool, I believe,
to share.
be able to share that, you know, globally. So that's what I work towards, and I work towards probably smaller productions who also have the same vision that I have, or the same goals that I have when it comes to telling a story. So that's how I navigate myself in the industry. Yeah.
You're a very passionate person when it comes to your work, which of course makes sense because that's how you've sustained a career that's lasted decades.
There are other actors who are
Oh,
who's
you're
been here
one of
longer
them.
than me and still here.
Absolutely,
And they're
that's
not
true.
being talked about either. So
Which we should, right?
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But there was one point in your career where you actually also stepped away. You stepped away, you took some time,
Yeah.
and then you came back.
Yes.
Tell us about that moment of stepping away and then deciding to come back. What were the factors that you had to consider?
Well, I guess when okay, if you want to use the term stepping away, which I did, um, because I got married, and I got married really early, uh, at 23. And I think the biggest ruckus that was stirred by that me making that decision to get married at such an early age was the fact that I was going to leave the country with my husband at a point of at the peak of my growing career.
Right.
I wouldn't even say it was a career at that point, but it was a growing career that grew really, really fast. And, and I was doing so much at that point. And then I got married. I got married and I left for Indonesia because my husband had a stint there for a few years. So that was my stepping away. So that was a good 5 years, I think, and I think at that point of my life, being married and I started a family, having children, it gave me time to reflect on what I do, how I do it, and why I do it. My career, the profession that I chose, and because of that, I think when I came back stronger, and I came back more matured, and being able to realize that, okay, this is how I want to, continue working professionally. It's not just a hobby; it's a profession. And being able to work closely with people, as I mentioned just now, who are also seeking to tell stories that are personal to many of us as Malaysians.
Right.
Which doesn't really get the fundings of sorts because it's really hard. It is really, really hard. So therefore, and I take my hat off to producers, who go out there and just do it.
Right.
And just do it,
The reason why I ask is because many actors and actresses are impressed by what you did. Not everyone would be brave enough to take that time away from a growing career. You hear it all the time in entertainment that they tell us that we've got a shelf life. We've got to make full use of that time that we have. But you were brave enough to actually take that time and then come back to it. Did you know you were going to come back? Like at that
I
point?
knew I was going to work again.
Yeah.
I just didn't know when. I did not know when that time would come.
Right.
And I'm not a planner. I'm not a planner, but I used full use of the time that I was away to embark on learning different languages, learning different cultures, watching world films, and understanding history and the context of people of different different countries and different eras through film. And thinking, okay, how can we do that for our own film landscape here?
Right.
And so it's interesting because there are a lot of young producers and directors and writers who are, who embark on that journey as well. And probably you don't see, their work being talked about enough or even shown here.
Right.
But it's talked about in other parts of the world.
That's so sad.
Well, it's elevating in a sense that you actually do get to do what you set out to do, which is you want people from different parts of the world
To see.
to see, to watch, and to have curiosity about what is it that Malaysian storytellers actually tell.
But we want to celebrate them here as well.
Yes, we do. We do. And we need to. We need to do that. And that's why I always say that a lot of things, important works that are done by, different actors, producers, directors, writers, they're not talked about enough because they're not probably popular enough. and that's the wave now, isn't it? To be popular and to be out there, which is, that's what we need to do. We have to be out there. But
Talent is also important.
yes, yeah.
Sometimes the popularity, it may seem, can outweigh the talent of someone, because we've heard the stories of how veterans have mentioned that they are losing out on roles simply because their following on social media isn't as large as the following of another person. And it seems like sometimes when it comes to casting, they may cast a person simply because they have a large online presence, and not necessarily the talent that goes along with that. Do you see that happening?
I believe, well, I don't think it affects the older generation because we don't have that many followers anyway. So it
Oh,
doesn't
you
really
got a lot of
affect.
followers, I gotta say.
Not really. I
I
mean,
wouldn't
but
call you the older generation either, but
but those numbers,
yeah.
in okay, if you take a step back and you look at the 80s and 90s, when you talk about people who come and watch your work, that's the audience,
Yeah.
right? And why do work if nobody's going to watch it, right? But it was a different set of audience, and today's audience is a bit different as well, because they can follow you on whatever platform that you're on. It doesn't mean that they know anything about what you do or even care about what you do. They just look at you because you're, I don't know, beautiful or more interesting than their life is. Maybe, I don't know. And you sort of want to project that life and world into your own. So so I mean, well, there's psychology going on there, but it's very interesting for me as an actor as well, the psyche of these followers or and the things they say, on on the comment section, and because of that, I think the reality is, that's why maybe when you look at today's TV work, especially, nothing budges.
Oh,
It doesn't budge,
right.
meaning the stories don't budge, the
Similar.
narration doesn't budge,
Right.
and how an actor or director or producer approaches the work or the narrative also does not move.
You mean there's
It's
no
stagnant.
growth?
There's no growth,
Okay.
right? There's no growth because apparently, the stories that are told that are just mimicking each other is what the audience.
Right. It needs to fit this mold
It has to
that
fit
has been
yeah,
proven.
proven,
So
yes.
don't steer away from what you
Correct.
believe has been working. If it ain't broke, don't fix
Don't
it.
fix it,
Just
yeah.
keep making the same thing over and
Yes.
over again.
But at the same time, that wasn't how it was in TV when I started out. We had a diverse range of stories. I was directed and worked with people who came from all parts of Malaysia.
Right.
They weren't just KL-centric stories. They were also that involved characters that came from Sabah and Sarawak, for instance, and how this collaboration of people of Malaysia that is produced on screen was amazing.
Trying different things.
But it didn't seem different. It didn't seem different. It seemed just right.
When it's all a variety, nothing seems different because everything is so unique.
It's just mimicking. Sorry, yeah. If you're talking about that,
Yeah, back then, because everything was so
yes.
diverse.
Yeah.
So it was unique. Everything was unique and not unique at the same time.
Yeah.
Because everyone was trying something.
Exactly, because it was also a time where Malaysia was trying to find its footing when it came to storytelling. Right. You had the 70s. You had P. Ramlee and in that golden era of Jalan Ampas and Cathay Chris and all that. And then there was then it's sort of like I don't know, something happened. And then when you come to the 70s, I mean listen, and we're talking about history of film in Malaysia, right? And then the 70s, and then it started again. And then you had the Rahim Razalis, you had the Ahmad Yatims, who are now telling patriotic stories, stories of families, middle class. So things were changing. And then you go, okay, what's next? And then you had the 80s, you had Nasir Jani, who was a rebel, and then you have Yue Haji Sa'ri, Arman Saleh, Shoaimi Baba,
John Baba, yeah.
who are doing, again, different
Also, a
things.
woman in
And a woman,
yeah.
yes, and so all these different perspectives were given that platform.
Mm,
There wasn't questions of who's going to watch this film.
mm. It was like, let's make a good
Let's
film.
just make it.
Mm.
Let's tell this story.
Yeah,
And it's interesting because these films also traveled the world,
yeah.
and conversations were sparked. So
Which is what films should
and
do.
yes, exactly. So it's nothing personal, meaning like I don't want to do a film because I want to be out there.
Mm,
I want to do a film so people know that I come from Malaysia and I'm a Malaysian actor.
yeah.
So yeah, so now and then you come now to this era
Mm,
of storytelling,
mm,
TV predominantly, where, as I said, it mimics the last and the past,
mm.
but it does not move on because of this proven
Yeah,
formula,
right,
but it does not progress the people in the industry.
right. Which is
So
so
we
yeah.
come back to the young actors,
Yeah.
where when you read a script, you don't question it.
Oh, just
You just
take it
read
all
it
in.
and you do it and you acknowledge it and you just do it. And I understand that young actors need to do things a lot to be out there, because you
Right.
want to be out there so that you can get more jobs.
Mm,
But if you stay at this certain point where you don't think going for acting workshops or acting classes to learn the skills, to learn that it's not just about, verbalizing your dialogue, then we have a problem, because who's going to be the next generation of actors?
you see that happening
Oh,
in,
yes, I
in
do.
the right.
I do. And the ones who are really talented,
Mm,
who are really, who went to university or they went to school, you have Aswara here.
mm.
And because they're not the package that, producers want or big studios want, then they kind of like end up probably sometimes not even performing. They end up doing something behind the
They're
scenes.
overlooked, like passed
Not
over.
not passed over,
Okay.
but I just feel that. So the question is now, talent over popularity, if you want to talk about being honest about it. And I think and that's basically it. So
That's so worrying.
it is worrying.
Yeah.
And then these young talents who are actually really good at what they do, at their craft, they do a lot of things, but people again don't talk about it. They do a lot of plays, they do a lot of small indie films, and they're so smart, and yet they're not deemed important for this industry to grow.
Do we need more platforms where this type of work can be featured? Because of the fact that they're indie films, larger distributors are not willing to take them on, but streaming platforms seem to be almost the perfect place for
Yes.
them to make their content available. But
Yes.
will streaming platforms take this content and air it?
I think they are,
Mm,
slowly but surely.
mm,
But we can't take our time doing it either,
mm.
because of the fact that, we were once, a country that was spoken of, and suddenly now we are being led by, our other Southeast Asian counterparts.
Yeah.
Um, and I just feel like, what have we been doing this past 30, 40 years?
Right.
So it's and we have all these town hall discussions and expressions and all that, but it's, you got to stop talking and start doing.
Mm,
And I think for me especially, sometimes it can be a bit frustrating. So we all come to the conclusion that we just have to keep on doing it. We just work, we just keep on working,
right.
because we don't have the upper hand when it comes to constructing structures in the industry, but we can carry on talking about other people's works
Mm,
that we find interesting enough
mm.
for people to have a conversation about.
Right. To
Plays,
highlight it.
yeah, to highlight it, and we have to keep on doing that. So so that's where we are. I feel that's my take anyway.
And your take is a valid one, because not only have you been a part of the industry and grown with the industry in many ways, but you also know so many people. You've been a part of so many different projects
Yes.
that that to not listen to what you have to say would be at the detriment of someone, because your opinion probably holds more weight than many others when it comes to knowing what you're talking about. You feel you're not heard sometimes.
Oh, I just say what I want to say. I mean, you can't force people to listen and to hear you. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that I just do it as often as I can.
Mm.
Even like on my Instagram, which is I think the most boring Instagram account ever for an actor. But it's not just about promoting what I do, but it's also promoting what I watch,
Mm.
what I think is potentially viable
Mm.
as a story, other talents that I feel, oh, this person needs to be talked about. And I feel like, that's doing something for my community,
Mm.
and it's not just for the people in the industry, it's also about the audience and the younger set of, people now
Yeah.
who are also trying to find something a bit more, something that they can be in touch with.
Meaningful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Meaningful, something that affects you, because at the end of the day, that's what films are supposed to do. That's what stories are supposed to do. They're supposed to affect you in a way,
Right.
regardless how you're affected. But
Mm.
it should open up something for you to feel or to
Mm.
discuss about,
An experience,
an
right?
experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel perhaps this whole exercise of producing or acting or whatever is overlooked also because we don't have that meaningful discussions, after a premiere. It's always about, oh, how did you feel about, I don't know, that's nothing related to what your work is.
Mm.
And you go, I want to talk about my work,
Yeah.
not about what I'm wearing today. So
Seems to be what everyone wants to know.
so I just, so I do my work, I do my marketing, and I try as much as I can to divert from questions that don't have any relevance to the story that was made,
Yeah.
and just concentrate on that.
Right.
Because
Right.
that's what, as an actor, that's my marketing,
Yeah.
right? I'm supposed to talk about what I do, why I did it,
Yeah.
what the story is, and why it's important to me, and I'm probably important for the audience as
Right.
well. Yeah.
One more interesting thing that comes about in conversation these days is the relevance and importance of social media in entertainment, because it is a platform and you have a platform as well. And one factor that could be either a negative or positive when it comes to social media is availability, because you are now personally making yourself available to people who appreciate your work. But that may come with pitfalls as well,
Such as?
like having someone make a comment that is unfair to you on your page. How do you navigate social media?
Well, I don't entertain rudeness. So that gets blocked straight away. When somebody makes a statement, I never turn away and go, yeah, that's not right. I want to know where you're coming from. So I ask.
To understand.
So to understand, because that's what we do as actors, right? We try to understand the different psyches. And I go, oh, that's interesting. Why do you see it that way, or why do you see it that way, or this way? And sometimes they just don't answer, which usually happens. They don't answer.
It's like they didn't expect.
Yeah, they didn't expect this engagement,
Right.
because nobody goes out there and says something without wanting to get engagement.
It's like you made them think as
Yeah.
well.
So
right?
so when I start a conversation or I question to understand, the engagement ends because it doesn't serve their purpose.
They didn't realize
The purpose of which I see on a lot of other actors platforms or whatever. When somebody makes a statement, basically they want an engagement that is going to define what they said as the
Support
godly
them.
truth.
Right.
And it's never good. It's never good. So when nobody engages with them, and I do, because everybody just bypasses somebody, but I find it interesting, and then I engage in it, and I say, oh, why do you think that? And then silence. So they don't want you to engage that way.
Yeah.
They want you to engage and feel angry about what they said.
Right. They want to rile you up.
Yeah,
get a
they want you
rise
to be
out of
angry or to be upset, or maybe, but it means that you're angry about something, which makes me interested. Oh, what are you angry about?
Like, why is that their response, that they
To-
felt the need to put it on
Yeah.
your page?
Yeah.
What did they want out of this?
Yeah. Because I would just say, oh, write an essay. Write an essay about how you feel, you know. That's what I do. That's what we did in school, right?
Right.
You write an essay, or you write a column, or you write an article. But anyway, I don't entertain rudeness. That's for sure. I put a stop at that because it has no space in my world.
Yeah.
But when it comes to people who make, remarks or interesting remarks to me, because I feel, it's interesting how that film or that particular, or how I look in that film made you tick,
Mm.
for instance. And then I want to start that conversation, but then it goes dead. So I don't.
It's interesting. It's almost like the way you approach social media is the same way you approach the films that you make.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
To make people, to have a conversation, to
Yes.
make people think,
Yeah.
to also understand the psyche of someone.
Yes.
These are the same traits in like that.
How you,
that you make
because there are
movies.
narrative gaps.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you read a story or you read, I'm very into spare writing, which there's not much going on there, and you have to sort of like fill up
Spare
the
writing?
gaps. Yeah, it's like somebody writes something, but there's no apa orang kata, there's no description.
Okay. Okay.
She's feeling sad as she says
Right,
this.
like
or-
why?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it's just she says it.
Mm.
And it's up to you as a human being
Mm.
to actually understand, the narrative gaps that are in your stories, in the writing. But it's the same thing as people who say something, but it doesn't come with a cry or it doesn't come with a
Yeah.
laugh. So you got to try and figure out, was she laughing when she said that serious note?
Yeah.
Or was she crying? Because people say things, but they mean something else.
Yeah.
They say something, but they feel something else. So what
Right.
they say could be an angry statement, but in actual,
Right.
they're feeling really, really upset.
Right. I think I've heard someone explain this as you're building the building around the brick.
Yeah.
It's like you get that brick, and then now you need to fill in the rest of that story,
Yes.
and you take it a step further because you actually dive
That's my
deep.
work.
Yeah.
That's my work. And what's interesting is that while you're building it, it could develop into something else.
Mm.
Let's say you wanted to actually just, have a collection of bricks to make a pedestal.
Mm.
You end up making a mansion, and a mansion that's unfinished
Yeah.
because it's never ending.
Right.
You know.
And the unfinished mansion is actually the full building.
Yeah.
That's what it was meant to be all
yes.
along.
Yes.
Well, this metaphor is
No,
taking
I'm
us
not.
places.
I'm not. But
I love it.
I just feel that we never know enough.
Mm.
You know,
This whole conversation was supposed to be
about my
learning
work,
so much about you,
but my work.
but we've learned so much more about the people around you.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really like talking about myself. That's why.
But we've learned so much about you because of the way you talk about the people around you as well. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person to have ever said this. I'm guessing that has noticed that you care about your environment.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I do.
Yeah. The environment and your environment.
Yeah, because it humbles me to the core, because I know I couldn't do half the things that the people around me do.
Mm.
And if I can't do half the things that they can do, at the very least I can talk about it,
Mm.
talk about them,
Yeah.
and hopefully somebody or a governing body will say we have to step in and
Yeah.
help these societies as well.
Right.
So
Yeah. If someone sees your work and says to you, I love what you do, I'm an up and coming actor, actress, what would you tell them? How would they navigate this new world of entertainment and acting?
I think the first thing would be what I mentioned earlier in the conversation about having that time to reflect. I mean, I had time to reflect when I walked away and started a family, right? I had time to reflect about what I do, why, and how I'm going to do it. And those are the fundamental questions that need to be asked by the person, by that young person. Why do you want to be an actor?
Is there a right answer for that?
There's never a right answer.
Yeah.
But there should be at least an answer that we can say, okay, you're on the right path.
Right.
Because it can take you anywhere, this industry, it can take you anywhere, and it can pull you apart too.
Right.
So you really need to know and be grounded when it comes to wanting to know why. Why am I doing it? Besides the passion, besides the talent that you may have, what is it?
Right.
What is it that's going to make you the special actor that's now going to be talked about, and now you're going to influence another generation of actors
Yeah.
to do good work?
Right. Because that's exactly what you're doing.
Well,
You're the inspiration
I don't know whether
for
I'm an
generations of
influence,
actors.
but it's just as soon as you know that,
Yeah.
everything will fall into place,
Wow.
and people around you will see that, because it's, I had this. I spoke to my husband about this because I'm always saying, why do these young actors keep on doing the same thing over and over again, right? And he said, well, maybe sometimes they don't have a choice.
Right.
And my argument has always been, you do have a choice. You always have a choice. Because if you want to do good work and you're in this stagnant body of work that doesn't become any different, why would anybody else who's a good director or a good producer or a good writer want to take you on? Because they haven't seen anything else that you can do. So you have to come out from what you do to be exposed or have that exposure within, mainstream TV or whatever,
Right.
and do a play.
Challenge yourself.
Challenge yourself. Go and do something, because you know what? That's what we all do. We do things that are out of our norm. We have to feel uncomfortable to be able to do things that might pique somebody's interest in the way you tell a story.
Wow.
How you tell the character. So if you do not have the urge to do all those things, then why are you an actor? That's the question that I feel, that I always ask myself as well. So as a younger person, that's what you should ask yourself.
Oh, you're giving a lot of. I'm not a young person, but you're giving me a lot of thought, things to think about as well.
It's not just it's not just being an actor. It's being a young person of today.
It becomes being a person almost.
Yeah.
Like all these things that you're asking can just be applied to a person who's just wanting to be a better person.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that applies even more so to an actor, because in a world where you can be seen a specific way simply of the profession that you're in, you need to really be sure that what the reasons that you're doing this, because it is an industry that can swallow you whole if you
spit you out.
Right. Right. Wow. We've come now to the rapid fire questions part of this conversation. So whatever you answer at this point is what you're feeling right now. But of course, you could change at another time. So this is just exactly at this point. This is how you feel about these questions.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
How many?
6.
Oh, okay. Not too bad.
Here we go.
Okay.
The first Malaysian film that made you fall in love with cinema.
Ooh. It would have to be Madu Tiga.
Oh,
Irabli's Madu Tiga. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. What's the hardest emotion to portray on camera?
Funny. This is a question I had before from Amelia Henderson.
Oh, okay.
It's not about how to portray it. It's why you're portraying it.
That's the hard part.
That's the hardest part.
Oh, okay.
I
think I'm going
Do I need to explain?
Yes, explain it.
Okay. So basically, you can have a description of, she laughs as she says, I don't care if you leave me, for instance.
Okay.
I don't care if you leave me, go. And she laughs. Why is she laughing? You see what I mean?
I know.
So the director says, oh, the writer says she's laughing, so therefore you laugh. What if I don't laugh? It now takes a different... takes a different way of expressing
the feeling of
the feeling of.
Right.
And why? So I question why do I have to, why does she laugh?
Right.
You need to ask yourself.
It's not the emotion, it's what's powering the emotion.
What's sparking that laughter, or what's sparking that tear, or what's sparking the emotion. Because as I said, just because somebody cries doesn't mean they're sad.
Right. What generates it?
It could, what's generating it? Because it's not, it could be something that's been pent up for so long that it comes out at that particular moment. So it's not about what's the hardest emotion to portray, but to understand why that person is portraying it
Mm.
is even more difficult.
Mm.
And and when you get it right, it works.
Right.
And
And finding that it's so hard, it can be hard.
it can be hard because you need to understand how the story is going to end, for instance,
Right.
how it started,
Right.
and also and how and what's the reality.
Mm.
Because as actors, you can very easily, be sidetracked by illusion as well.
Okay.
So what's your illusion and what's your reality? What am I as an actor? What in my social settings, why am I saying this and why am I feeling this at this point?
It's like world building.
It is. You
right,
are
yeah.
building this world,
Yeah.
right? But the setting has already been given to you.
Mm.
But now, as an actor, you're filling up the gaps in the narratives.
Mm. Mm.
So it's never about. I always say this, and to the younger kids as well. It's never about, oh, how am I going to cry?
Yeah.
Ask yourself why. Why are you crying?
Listen to Sofia Jane, okay?
Hola. I listen to Fatima Abu Bakar,
Listen
okay?
properly.
And I don't know
Fati!
No, but I mean, we
Yeah.
all learned that,
Mm.
right? And that's why sometimes we get into really heated arguments with writers because it's like, but it's not, and it's not because of it being bad or whatever. It's just trying to understand it
Mm.
and understanding the writer as well. Why do you feel that person is doing this or saying this at this particular moment?
Mm. But that's a great argument to have.
Yeah.
Because that's a passion argument. You're arguing or you want to have a strong conversation about the work.
Yes.
Right? So that
Yes.
you can portray it and give it the respect that it deserves.
Exactly.
What's one piece of direction you've never forgotten?
Forget everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, and this only happens with directors who I work very closely with, and I have a very long process of rehearsals and time spent with the script,
Right.
the writer, director, where sometimes you set the tone. The writer sets the tone. Then you go in and you go, okay, right, I understand this, and this is how it's going to look. Then the director comes in with, this is how my setting is going to be. This is the kind of camera I'm going to be using. This is the kind of camera work that I want for this particular storytelling.
Right.
And then you get so absorbed with everything that has its technicalities. And then when you come on set, things change because sometimes on set where the scene is supposed to be all shiny with sunny with bright sun coming down, streaming rays through the window or whatever, and then suddenly it rains.
Oh no. Okay.
Now the mood set changes,
Yeah.
right? And then you're like, okay, we don't have time. We don't have money to wait for the rain to stop, for instance. If it's going to rain for the next 2 days, what are we going to do? Now we've got to work everything around this sunny, airy setting into this noisy, thunderous, wet setting.
Yeah.
Things change.
Yeah.
So forget everything.
Right.
You know your lines.
Yeah.
You know what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But now you're in that social setting,
Right.
which you only imagined when you were reading.
Right.
But now you've come to that set.
Yeah. Forget everything.
Forget everything and feel it and listen.
Wow.
You know?
It's so interesting that the one piece of direction you've never forgotten is forget everything.
Yeah. Forget it.
Oh,
Forget it.
yeah.
Okay, and you got to be quick, right? You got
Yeah.
okay. Forget that it was going to. Forget that you're going. The description of the sun hurt her eyes
Yeah.
is gone now because it's dark. For instance,
You got to roll with the punches.
yeah.
Forget everything and remember the feelings.
and that's why it's about being grounded.
Yeah. Yeah.
So illusion and reality. How do you?
You're giving me too many things to think about, Sophia Jane.
Okay.
Too many things to think about.
No lah.
Okay. Now, what's a film or show you've recently watched that restored your faith in storytelling?
In Malaysia,
In Malaysia, yeah, sure.
I've watched Baba.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, you must watch Baba.
No, I haven't seen it yet. Okay.
I loved Baba. It was such a sweet film.
Right.
I want to say Mencari Ramli
Of course.
because I'm not being biased, but it was refreshing
Yeah.
for me, and I think it was absolutely Malaysian, and I love the fact that everybody, didn't have to be from one particular race to actually enjoy this film.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so Malaysian.
Right. Okay, final rapid fire question.
Okay.
What's a phrase or quote that you live by?
Well, there's plenty, but I always take my late mother-in-law's ada mata tengok, ada telinga dengar, ada mulut diam.
Ah.
And you can take it any way that you want.
Right.
But my understanding of it is that words are dangerous. You know, words are very, very dangerous. So when you see something and you hear something, don't say anything just yet. Because you really have to listen hard. You really have to look very hard and then go and understand what that was about. Because people always it's very easy to say things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't take it back. That's what it means.
Right.
So words can be very dangerous. So bila ada mulut tu diam. Only when you feel it's time to speak,
right,
that you speak.
digest.
But this is not the instance of if you hear screaming from your neighbor, keep quiet. No, it's not. But you know,
like listen to a person first,
Yes, listen.
digest that information before you respond. Because once you've responded that first time, you can't take those words back,
Yes.
especially if you react in an emotional way.
Yes,
Be careful of how you react and what you
Correct.
say, because words have power.
yes, it's very powerful and very dangerous.
Yeah.
So and that's why I live
great
by
one.
with my work
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things that you can live by in your work and also in life.
Yes.
It just makes sense, right? It just makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Wow. And now finally, this is a question we ask of all of our guests. Let's say if you had the opportunity to make one change as Prime Minister of Malaysia for a day, what would that change be and why?
Alamak.
The ultimate role in your career. Prime
Just the
Minister.
ultimate role. Well, there's a lot there.
The first thing you want to change.
I would overhaul the education system.
Give us an example of like what needs change.
I feel, okay, as a Malaysian, and if I was Prime Minister, the first thing I want to see is a cohesive society.
Right. And education is so important
Of course it is.
in that. Yeah.
Of course it is. And the people who are managing education must also be a part of this cohesive society. And it's very interesting because I have nephews, nieces, and I keep asking, what subjects do you have now compared to my days, and what is mandatory and what's not. And I'm surprised that history is not mandatory, for instance.
Oh wow.
Okay. But anyway, going back to having this cohesive society is having civics education at a very, very early age. From preschool.
Preschool.
Of course, from preschool. People can say, oh, it starts from home. Yeah, it sure does. But it has to also be in school.
Yeah.
Because you are in a school where you're not alone. You're not with your own people. You're with, our cultural diversity is absolutely amazing. And for you not to be a part of that would be detrimental to this country.
Right. And to learn to be a part of
And
that.
to learn to be and to respect the tolerance, the intrigue of wanting to know about people who are not you.
Yeah.
The respect and understanding comes from preschool. And this curriculum cannot chop and change depending on who's the next education minister.
Right.
It has to elevate as years go by. It has to get better as years go by. And with that, I truly believe that when you have that wholesome and that wholesome society within the school itself, it can't help but pour over into society at any age group. So, and civics, mind you, has always been a start-stop situation. Sekejap ada, sekejap tak ada. Why? And then you include civics in different subjects like history and English.
Right.
Why?
It dilutes its importance, right?
And how long do you actually have this civics education, and how often do you have it in a week?
Yeah.
I had it for an hour.
Yeah.
twice a week or something in school,
Yeah.
in primary
Yeah.
even.
And you still remember it until
Yeah,
today.
yeah, I
Like,
do.
Yeah.
The Ali, Mutu, in
Yes.
Abang, or but you'll always remember that
Yeah.
because you remember that
Right.
you're not just one person or one people. You're part of this huge, huge society
Right.
that
It teaches us to be a whole person and not
yes,
just a worker.
and Malaysia can only get better with that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Prime Minister.
Education minister. Education minister.
I look forward to the day. Thank you so much again for joining us today. I feel like there's just not enough time.
No, it never is.
Yeah, we need to have an even longer conversation. I don't know how this is going to happen, but maybe sometime in the future.
Call me next year.
We appreciate you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Terry.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Sophia Jane, of course, Datin Sofia Jane joining us. This entire conversation has been a real eye-opening one, not just about you, but about the world that we live in and the society at large. And we look forward to our next guest as well, who'll be joining us here on Live Confessions on SYOK. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you again.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you.